It's a common thing to reflect on a relationship after it has ended, but reflecting on a healthy relationship is much different from reflecting on an abusive one. When you've been the victim of abuse, you begin to question if there were things that might have been a warning that you overlooked. You'll be asking questions like, what did I miss? Were there signs to indicate that this person wasn't right for me? Why do I keep getting into bad relationships? Why didn't I just trust my intuition? I knew that was something that wasn't right, but I kept giving them the benefit of a doubt. If I keep making bad relationship choices, how will I be able to tell when the right person comes along? If there are warning signs, why do I keep missing them? Well, let's find out. This audio points out 6 reasons why you might have missed the red flags in your abusive relationship. I'm sure it'll all sound very familiar to you. Let's talk about infatuation. Falling in love is like a natural high. The body releases hormones into the blood that activate the part of the brain that senses pleasure. Those hormones also intensify your attraction towards your new love. It's a wonderful feeling because it makes you feel good about everything. So, it's true when people say they are high on love. The only problem with being high is that it alters your judgment. Yep, your brain gets hijacked by love. Think about it. In the beginning of the relationship, you're so caught up in your new love that they become the only thing you think about. Your head is so far in the clouds that even running off to Vegas to get married seems like a good idea. That is, until the honeymoon phase is over and the cycle of abuse begins. Speaking of running off to Vegas, let's move on to the next one. Doing too much too soon. It's not good to be too anxious when it comes to finding love. When you've waited a long time for your prince in shining armor, by the time he arrives, you're not trying to waste any time. The only thing you want to do is saddle up and ride. Well, that ride might cost you far more than you bargained for. Remember, your brain has been hijacked, so you're not quite thinking straight. During this time, red flags could be flying all over the place, and you will not see them. So, it's best not to make any major life decisions until you come down off your love high. Try to avoid doing things like moving in together, getting engaged or married, getting pregnant, joining finances, or even getting a pet together until your brain has returned to a normal level of thinking. Take your time. If they are meant for you, they'll wait. Another reason why red flags are missed is wishful thinking. You're head over heels in love and want this relationship to work more than anything. Anything, I say. Now this is where the denial comes in. That shady area where you start feeling that something isn't right, but you keep giving yourself reasons to hold on anyway. For instance, your love says or does something that is very hurtful to you. Their words or actions appear out of the norm for them and are definitely not acceptable to you. If you were in your right frame of mind, you would give them a piece of your mind and cut them off. But your brain has been hijacked. So instead of addressing the issue and standing your ground, you convince yourself or allow them to convince you that maybe they're just having a bad day or that you did something to trigger them. Now, you've accepted the blame and given them the green light to keep going. Then, each time they do or say something hurtful, they'll either apologize and promise to never do it again, or they will find a way to blame you for their behavior. And because you're stuck in wishful thinking, you keep pleading with them, asking them over and over again to stop. Unfortunately, they never do. The only way to change it is for you to make the decision to walk away. One more reason why red flags are missed in abusive relationships is because sometimes you're just too ashamed to admit that you were wrong. This is the part where you realize that you're in way over your head. You've disregarded the big red flags protruding from your mate's forehead, and you've bragged to all your family and friends about how wonderful this person is. You've defended them to every person that told you negative things about them. Now you're beginning to see it for yourself. But for so long, you've covered up and made excuses for the abuse. You're afraid of losing a relationship because you think no one else will want or love you. You don't want to be alone. You're too ashamed to face the truth because now you must undo all the lies you told to hide it. You know you need to let go, but the embarrassment of facing everyone is too much. You're worried about what people will think and say. You don't want everyone to blame you. Again, without even realizing it, here you are making up more excuses that will allow the abuse to continue. The longer you hold on to the relationship, the more painful it becomes. But the day finally comes when you must do the inevitable before the inevitable does you. You gotta admit you were wrong for getting involved with this person. Let them go and move on. Here's another reason why red flags are missed in an abusive relationship: a lack of self-trust. Red flags are often overlooked when you don't trust yourself to make good decisions. Maybe you made a mistake or a bad choice in the past that you still criticize yourself for. Or perhaps you've become so accustomed to others criticizing your choices that you've lost faith in your ability to make good ones. Now you second guess all your decisions. Even though something might be staring you right in the face, you still question your intuition. Instead of listening to your gut, you become codependent, relying on others to make choices for you. In your case, it has been your abuser who has made all the decisions. Now you feel you don't know how to make choices without them, which makes things even more complicated because now you're having to make a decision about them. Everything in you knows the choice to make, yet you can't bring yourself to make it. Your abuser has already betrayed you, so please don't betray yourself. If you're struggling with making that choice, try asking yourself and answering this question: which do you trust more? Your ability to make a choice or your abuser's ability to change? Please choose wisely. The final reason we're going to talk about is minimizing the red flags. When you love someone, you are determined to focus on the good in them. Of course, we all say things we don't mean when we're angry. Nobody's perfect, right? Right. But nobody has the right to make you feel bad about yourself either, especially when this feeling becomes an unhealthy pattern. For a while, you'll be thinking that it's no big deal, manipulating yourself into believing that you're strong enough to handle it because it's just words. Convincing yourself it's not abuse, saying, oh well, at least they don't put their hands on me. The truth is that emotional abuse can be just as damaging as physical abuse. That's why even the slightest word or action that you feel is disrespectful or hurtful should be addressed immediately. If you overlook the emotional abuse, the physical abuse will eventually present itself. After listening to the audio, I hope you have a better understanding about why you missed the red flags in your abusive relationship. The next thing I'd like you to do is reference back to your list of red flags from the previous audio and write the reasons you think you missed those red flags. Next, carefully consider and answer this question: what can I do to prevent this from happening again? Please send me your response to this question. We will later use it along with your list to create a customized reference guide that will help you gain more awareness of your decision making and relationship patterns. To break the cycle, you must understand the cycle.